Panther News 22, Beverly High School's news program dedicated to bringing you the ins and outs in Beverly High School. In this week's episode, we will talk about the return of DECA and how it changed. We also hear from our students as they tell us about their upcoming Thanksgiving festivities. Then we take a look at Panther Press Design, a student-run business. Next, we explore students' opinions of our educational system and conclude with a story about what to do for entertainment if you don't own a car or drive, whether with friends or alone, so stay tuned.
For our first story, Mrs. Marascalchi will introduce us to the DECA organization. We will discuss how COVID affected the past year and, more importantly, what this new year might bring.
Do you have high expectations for this DECA season?
I always have high expectations. The reason being is I know it motivates the next kind of grouping of people year after year when they see how much fun and how much success the kids from the previous years have during district, states, and nationals. So yes, I have high expectations. I think kids are struggling a little bit, getting back into like the routine of maybe hard, consistent work. But I think in the same instance, as we get closer and closer to the competition, everybody seems to be picking up the pace a bit. So I think it's going to be a good year. I'm hoping that they do really well because I think it gives them a lot more in return. They realize how talented they are, and they realize what they can really do if they put their minds to it.
What gave you inspiration for this project?
Project Paragon is inspired by our coach, teacher, mentor. His name is Andrew Scott. We refer to him as Coach Scott. He is paralyzed from the waist down, and we realized that there needs to be more awareness in the community about how people with disabilities are able to get around.
What are your hopes for this upcoming DECA season?
Our hopes is we have an event coming up, and our hope is to get our event done before districts, and obviously qualify as top 4 districts and make it to states.
Can I add something? Yeah. We also want to make it to Atlanta, where Nationals is.
Going to it.
Because that would be really huge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That would be really fun and exciting. So, yeah.
What's one message you really want to get out to the people you're trying to reach through this project?
Basically, going off that second question, we just want to raise awareness for disability accessibility. And we also want to create a bond with Coach Scott and prove that our community is just as strong as we think it is.
What is Upstitch?
Upstitch is a nonprofit organization created so we can collect clothing donations and fix them up and make them better looking to give to kids who can't afford them during the colder seasons.
What was your inspiration for this project?
Our inspiration was the cold weather coming up and people not being able to afford stuff to keep them warm.
What is one message you want to send out to the people through this project?
One message we want to send out is that we want everyone to feel confident in what they're wearing and be able to access clothes that they need and want for certain times of the year so that everyone has a chance to wear something good quality.
Our next story involves the tastiest holiday, Thanksgiving. We will interview students to find out what their favorite festive food is and plans for the holiday.
Thanksgiving, a time to sit around the table with your friends and family and discuss what you're thankful for. Here at BHS, we have many students that celebrate. What are they thankful for and what do they like to eat?
Favorite food on Thanksgiving will have to be turkey and mac and cheese.
Favorite food on Thanksgiving is definitely stuffing.
Turkey. Turkey is really good.
Squash, corn. Favorite food Thanksgiving is stuffing. Turkey.
Thankful for all my family and friends. Keep me going.
The gym.
Thankful for my family and my friends and a great opportunity to play a sport that I love.
Beverly High School has many clubs and organizations. However, some of them fly under the radar. Today we will discover our very own Panther Press, who they are, how they operate, and how we can contribute.
BHS has a lot going on behind the scenes. Many students don't know this, but BHS actually has its own business running here at the school. It's called Panther Press. I interviewed Ms. Tolan to find out more. What is Panther Press?
A digital design company. We have experience with Photoshop and designing for projects such as logos and posters and photo manipulation. We work as a business, a student-run business, and we have actual clients that we fulfill products for, and students learn how to use a vinyl cutter and various other equipment where we can personalize products for our clients, such as tumblers and bags and wall decals and things like that.
How do you decide what products to make, and how do you make those products?
So it kind of starts out, we discuss what we're going to invest in, and we order products in bulk. We do a lot of kind of BHS themed merchandise. We get an order, and then we assign different either groups or individuals to that order. They work with the client and give them options for designs, and then either they create the product with the vinyl cutter, or it goes to kind of another individual that will create the product. And then we do invoices and packaging and deliver our product.
Where can students buy Panther Press products?
So we're now live on the BHS website under the student section, and there's a link right there. You can order through the Google form. You can always come down to our room, 168. Those are the two main sources. We do have some in the hallway here. We do have some cases, display cases, that we're trying to continuously update just to kind of see what merchandise we're making.
For our next story, we discuss how students face pressure to succeed not only socially but academically.
So I'm taking a few honors and AP classes as far as my core classes go, and the amount, I would say I usually have about hour, 2 hours of homework. I'd say a night, given the level of classes that I'm taking.
So usually I have about 5 pages of homework, mostly from biology. It takes me about 1 to 2 hours, but it's usually not too bad.
The amount of homework I had was pretty decent, especially for a senior. I have senior privilege, so I only have 3 classes each day. I think they give a reasonable amount of homework to do. I'm not having too little, not too much. I can balance it out.
Homework, as much as I don't necessarily like it, I'm sure that's the same opinion most other students have. I do think it is fairly important that we do have at least some sort of homework, as it gives us a chance to practice outside of school and keep the information fresh.
I don't think homework is necessary unless you can't finish your work in class. I don't really think that they should be putting more work after the 6 hours of school that you have. I just think it's too much. Kids have stuff outside of school, so we should be focusing more about work in school.
Maybe if the class is struggling, maybe add some more practice, but other than that, if your class is okay and they know what they're doing, I think it's not necessary.
Last year was, I'd say, that's a difficult question. I would say this year, I feel like it's gone down a bit simply because the pacing of the classes is very different, given that it's now every other day as opposed to every single day like it was last year. But yeah, I would say it's probably a bit slower almost in a way, but I think it's good, the level that it's at right now as opposed to last year.
Well, last year, since most of us were hybrid, it was a lot of work that you were doing at home anyways, but you didn't really take home any work because you were doing stuff every other day at home. I think there's definitely much more this year than there was last year.
I think it's definitely more effective. I feel like last year, since it was COVID, it was more crazy. It was a lot harder for students to understand and actually do well on their work. So I feel like this year is a lot better. It's a lot hands-on and more visible learning.
Procrastinating, I usually it's a thing that I do fairly commonly, and so I feel like when I procrastinate, I usually tend to find anything else that I can possibly do in the meantime to almost avoid doing it, and then usually it would lead to night before or something like that, simply because I don't want to do it in the moment, but I know I have to get it done.
I am one to procrastinate. Usually I just, if it's due the next day, I just stay up late and work on it.
I procrastinate a lot. I procrastinate time. I go to work, I watch TV, I wait to do my homework at the last minute, but I've been trying to be more, reasonable and good on that. I've been trying to do my homework right after school. Like right when I get home, that's the first thing I do.
Next, we ask the question, what are ways to get people off their screens and into the real world?
Tired of being cooped up in your house? Or just doing nothing? Especially with COVID restricting most activities involving big groups of people? Well, here are a few fun things to do while self-quarantining. Or if you're just bored. To start off, considering we all need at least some human interaction, is playing games and spending time with family, as it is important to maintain the relationship that you have with them. If you're in the mood for something sweet or savory, test out your cooking and baking skills in the kitchen. That is, if you trust yourself enough to not burn your house down in the process. Feeling more on the artistic side of things? Relax your mind and soul with some creative activities. If you're not really into visual art, try and bring out your musical side with some instrument playing. And if you want to expand your imagination, reading is always a good way to do exactly that. If you're the type of person that's active or simply likes to get out into nature, playing some type of sport can really get your body moving and active. Not feeling too active, but at least want to get your body moving, then walking is a great way to do exactly that. It can create some type of peace within you and helps with clearing your mind from what might be troubling you. Finally, after all those suggestions, if those don't appeal to you, and you're more of a homebody, there is always the go-to binge watching of some shows or movies.
Thanks for tuning in. That's all for this week. And now it's time to go. Stay up to date, follow us on our social media. Bye, people.